is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That, of course, well, maybe not, of course, because some of you might have thought that that was some long-lost Journey track or a bad English song or maybe a long-lost Hardline tune. It's none of those, but it's kind of pieces of those. That is brand new stuff from the record, which is called Set the World on Fire. It is Gioeli-Castronovo, which features Dean Castronovo of every band you've ever seen in your life, as well as this guy who's also been in just about every band you've ever seen in your life. It is the lead guy from Axel Rudi Pell, the lead guy from Hardline, and, of course, the lead guy from Gioeli-Castronovo. It is Johnny Gioeli. Johnny, how are you, man?
That's it. Hey, man, I'm great, Chris. How you doing, brother? I
am excellent, man, and I'm more excellent now that I have this record, man. What a great!
Thanks.
It's such a great record, and I have to, you know what? I'm going to ask you a question that sounds negative, and it's not meant to be that way, but I think it's a good place to start.
Okay, I'm thick skinned, brother. Fire away, I'm thick skinned.
Here we go. If When you're a very active musician, as both of you guys are, and you come up with or approached, or I'm not even sure how, you could tell me how this came to be, but when a project like this comes together, that kind of because of your schedules and everything else is not going to lead to a lot of extended touring on it. Doesn't it almost hurt to give away some of these songs that are, arguably some of the best that you've ever been involved with from the writing standpoint?
Well, good question, man. So how do I answer that? First of all, yes, we are very hormonally active. And no. So, this whole thing, let me just give you a little background on what happened, if that's cool.
Sure.
And then it'll kind of answer the question, and segue into some other things.
Sure.
But first of all, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, dude.
So what happened was I was doing an interview, and a journalist, which I will not mention the name, said some pretty not nice things about Dean.
Okay.
And as a lot of the listeners may know, Dean has had, and we all have, our peaks and valleys and trials and tribulations. He went through a little bit of a rough spot in his life and during the Journey time.
Right.
And got a little mixed up in some things. He is now clean for 3 years. I'm happy to report that. I mean, clean like a freaking baby's ass after a nice wiping. So he's doing great. But this journalist said something was very off color, tried to get me to say some stuff, bad stuff. And I obviously I supported Dean 100,000,000% by saying that I know Dean, I know his heart. We were kids when we were in our young 20s when we did the Hardline Double Eclipse record. We've been through a lot of stuff, man, a lot of ups, downs. And I care about the guy. I love the guy. He's like a brother,
Sure.
And so I was completely taken by that, some of those comments. Dean heard that interview. Okay. Not only did Dean call me, but his son Kyle also reached out to me too. Kyle was I think Kyle was like 2 or 3 years old when we were doing Hardline Double Eclipse, time period. And Dean goes, bro, thank you. He goes, I haven't talked to you. Like, we haven't spoken in 18 years. And the first thing out of your mouth was, I love Dean. I'm always there for Dean, and I know Dean. He goes, bro, thank you. I love you, man. And so that's how we started, communicating. It's not that we didn't want to communicate, but we are freaking busy.
Right, sure.
Dean was out with Journey, doing his thing. I'm doing Hardline, Axel Rudi Pell, Crush 40. I've got my solo album. I'm busier than a crack dealer in Compton, California on a Saturday night at 2 a.m. I'm busy.
Right.
So anyway, that's how it happened. Dean reached out like a week later. He goes, dude, you want to do a record together? I go, are you kidding? Of course.
Right.
Let's do it. And it literally happened like that. Then we said, okay, now the music, what do we want to do here? I said, well, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's not do anything we're not. Let's do who we are. Mm-hmm. We're AOR rock melody guys. Let's freaking sing. Right. And now the public knows, Dean, that you can sing from the Journey stuff. But back in the Hardline days, he sang backup and stuff like that. But people didn't really realize that Dean has a freaking killer voice.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, so we laugh. I say he's more feminine. He's, this is kind of like a Hall & Oates thing.
Right.
So he's a little bit more the feminine. I'm a little bit more the manly voice.
Right.
But anyway, we had a great time doing it. But anyway, so we decided, let's do this. Let's do it for us, see how it translates with the public. And then if the people like it and accept it, let's tour. Let's not just freaking, do another record and say, okay, cool, we did that. So we are planning to tour. As a matter of fact, we're working on it as we speak for next year.
Excellent.
And, so anyway, that's how the whole thing came about. That's my little short story,
Sure.
but that wasn't so short.
No, it's all good, man. And you know what? You brought up such a great point about Dean's voice, man. And I'll tell you, the first time I ever saw Dean, actually sing was at one of those Journey shows. It was one of them where Jeff Scott Soto was the singer. For some reason, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, mid through the show, they did Faithfully, and they threw it to Dean to sing. And I just remember watching it. I was like, holy shit, this guy should be in front of the band,
It's so funny. I just listened to, I don't know what provoked me to do it, but I just went on YouTube and pulled up Mother, Father of him singing Mother, Father. Mother, Father. And I'm like, I listened to it. I texted him right away. I said, you asshole. I said, wait a minute. I said, did you go back into the studio and play around with computers? Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. And he goes, Johnny, I swear to God, man, I swear to God, I didn't touch a freaking thing.
Wow.
But he did name a couple songs he did touch. But that particular one, he did not touch. I said, Dean, bro, I love you, man. You are just an incredible talent. And then he goes back with me. Well, what about you, you son of, we go, anyway, it's like, I don't know. It's a great, just such a wonderful reunion to be back in Dean's company, and the guy's a phenomenal musician, and we just enjoy making music, man. We just, like I said, we do it for us, and then we hope that everyone enjoys it.
Sure. Well, talk a little bit about these songs, man. Were they like pieces of ideas that you both had, or is it all brand new stuff that you guys worked on together, or did you do MP3 trading back and forth, or how exactly did this all come together?
Well, that would sound like the exciting way to do it, but actually we didn't do that. We looked because we're busier than hell. We looked for outside writers to help us create this, and of course we lyrically changed and we melodically changed and stuff like that. And it's not a cop-out. Some people say, oh, my God, they didn't write their own album, blah, blah, blah. There's something to be said for having another creative person imagine your voice on their song. I actually love it, man. I think anyone who is creative and creates a great song, I'm not a greedy guy. If you write a great song and it fits for what I do and I love it, I'm going to sing it. I don't give a shit. My grandmother wrote it. I don't care.
Right.
So we did that for the sake of speed, to make sure that we can get the album out, because of all of our schedules and stuff like that. But we also did it because a lot of these writers are fans.
Right.
It's just kind of cool. Like they're a fan of Hardline. They're a fan of Dean and Johnny, of myself. And so it's cool to hear what they come up with. And we sifted through a lot of shit, man.
Right.
We sifted through a lot of songs. There's a lot of great songs. And this is what we picked. And then we just figured out, okay, everyone says, oh, how intense was the process of saying who sings what? It was like 3 minutes over breakfast. Hey, Dean, you want to take that one? Okay, man. How about this one? You take that one. Okay, I'll take that one. You want to take this? Sure, man, I'll take that. How about? And it was over. We're like, okay, cool. We highlighted the lines. Okay, you sing this, you sing that. We said, oh my God, this is so gay. But okay, we're gonna do. Nothing against gay people. I'm just saying that it was just a little odd.
Right.
Picking lines back and forth. Again, it was like that, freaking Hall & Oates thing, but it works.
No doubt, man. Well, dude, I have to ask you about one of your other projects, which is, of course, Axel Rudi Pell. I don't know how you have time to do anything else with that guy. I mean, Jesus, every year, like clockwork, I can guarantee I'm going to get handed an Axel Rudi Pell release and not a short one, not an EP with 4 songs. They're all 10, 12 songs long.
insanity.
Is that his insanity? Is that yours? Is it the combination of you two that work just constantly on that project?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combo of illness between us both. This is what we do, and with that project, you know what was wild, man, is that I'm very shy. Believe it or not, I'm a shy guy.
Okay.
But I just checked my Wikipedia because people say, Johnny, you got a Wikipedia. Okay, we'll see what's on. I didn't realize that I've created over 50 albums in my career already. I'm like, holy shit. Two thoughts came to mind. One, I'm old as shit. And two, maybe I should retire. But anyway, and then all those thoughts disappear. But Axel loves to produce an album every single year. I think I have over 20. I'm 21 years singing with Axel. And we just, look, every album that comes out, it's not like we're not reinventing the wheel. It's like the same album from last year, but just different lyrics,
Right.
But that's what we do, and that's what works. So, it's an insane schedule. I'm off next week back to Europe. I just came back from Poland and Germany, just home for a couple days, shoot off again, 6 countries, 2 weeks. I'm doing Hardline and Axel shows in the next 2 weeks. And then October through Christmas, I'm gone, man. I can't tell you how many shows I have. I'm afraid to look. But it's an awesome thing, bro. It's an awesome thing. So, Axel keeps me busy. And, So,
and I just
someday.
I just did a count real quick. There's 24 releases since 1998 just of Axel Rudi Pell.
And it's funny, man. It's probably not even including ballads records. I did tribute albums for Ronnie James Dio. I did all kinds of shit. Live DVDs. Oh my God, that's awesome.
No doubt.
I'm a grateful guy, man. I wake up. Even today, I'm 39 years since I'm 11 years old.
Okay.
39 years in this business. And every day, I still wake up and say, thanks, God. This is the coolest frickin' job anyone could ever have. And I owe it to the fans and the people, because the second they stop listening, it's over for me. It's done. And then I'm going to go and, I don't know, I'm going to raise chickens or something. I'm going to do something. I don't know.
No doubt, man. Well, dude, let me just real quickly address one Hardline question for you. I don't want to pull too far away from the Gioeli-Castronovo record, but
that's all good, man.
In my opinion, I thought Human Nature was just straight out missed by the public. I didn't understand why it didn't get any more love than, or maybe it did outside of the U.S., but it just seemed like it came and went. Did you feel that way too, or?
Oh, man, the U.S. is a beast. The U.S. is a freaking grizzly. It's hard, but honestly, that record was in the top 100. It was Heat Seeker's Billboard charts. It did really great, bro. But not here.
Right.
Here it's just, there's not enough guys like you allowing the public to hear it.
Sure.
That's really the reality. It's just the market is so, like I said, it's a freaking grizzly, and you can't run from it, but you got to kind of stand still, otherwise it's going to attack you.
Right.
So our focus was Europe, Asia, Eastern Europe. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, I just did a show in Bulgaria, in Sofia, Bulgaria, that sold out to the rafters. And you go, whoa, wait a minute. People are like, hi, I'm from Serbia. And you're like, where am I?
Right.
So that just doesn't really happen here, unfortunately, in the U.S. anymore. But that record was top 100 in the Billboard charts for album sales. And so it did very, very well, actually.
No doubt, man. Now, what kind of expectations do you put on releasing a release right now? Obviously the Gioeli-Castronovo record is the current one.
Yep.
Do you put any kind of, obviously it's your living, so I, on some level, everybody's still hoping that you sell, 100,000 copies worldwide or whatever. But do you put those kind of expectations or hopes these days, or do you just hope to get it out there and that enough people hear it to come out to the shows when there are shows, regardless of the project, because they're familiar with you?
Well, a great question, man. I can tell you that for Gionovo, we actually call it Gionovo.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. But the Gionovo project, I shouldn't say just Gionovo. Any of the projects, I really don't think about the result anymore.
Okay.
I think my family does. You know, like the wife will look like, oh, my God, thank God. Oof, thank goodness. She's like, you've got 130,000 views in the first minute. I'm going shopping.
Right.
You know, kind of thing. But
Right.
I need new shoes. See ya. But I don't really analyze it, worry about it, think about it, check it. You know, the record company will contact me and they'll say, hey, congratulations, you charted in this country, you charted in that country. And I go, okay, cool. Thank you so much. I'm going to go have lunch. It's just, to me, the privilege and gift of making music is enough.
Okay.
Everything else that comes from it is just like icing on the cake. I don't worry about it. I really don't. So with this project, with Gionovo and Set the World on Fire, the expectation is just the hopes that people like it.
Right.
That's it. If they, and you know, yeah, of course we want to play to full houses, and we want to chart high and have great media and great publicity. But it really, the party was once we finished the record and we listened to it and we hugged each other and said, freaking, that was cool, dude. Let's do another one.
Excellent.
Like that.
No doubt.
So that's kind of how it rolls with us old guys nowadays.
Right. No doubt, man. Well, dude, let me go into yet another. I'm all over the board with you. I know that, but
no, it's cool.
But
fire away, man.
Well, there was a study came out last week, and I figure you're a great guy to talk to about this because you're so engaged in this industry. There was a study that came out last week by some medical something that said that video games are now considered a mental disorder. And I have to get your take on that as somebody that is, you know, if nothing else, was the soundtrack to every single time that I passed my kid's room for the last 20 years while they were playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I have to know what your take is about that kind of a thought that playing video games could somehow be damaging people.
Yeah, I think it's my take. Again, my opinion. I'm not medically trained, but my opinion is that's a bunch of pure bullshit.
Right. So
let me just tell you, I will tell you, I do a lot of these events for Sega and for the kids. And yes, some of these songs that my music partner, Jun Sonoy in Japan, and I in Crush 40 that we've created are epic in the industry. I mean, that's also 20 plus years,
right.
In the making. And I will tell you that there are a good number of kids that play the games because they like to escape from this everyday struggle. I'm trying to say this carefully. There are some kids that are a bit on the autistic spectrum,
right?
That use the games because they can control the game where they can't have difficulties controlling life,
right?
So there is some some reasons why they play them, but I certainly have never seen or met any kid that has become a little freaking
right
because they played a game. You know what I mean? So I think it's just complete horseshit. As a matter of fact, I'm actually, as busy as I am, I'm actually working on writing a book.
Okay. And
I'm writing this book because of that very question. I didn't realize how much this music has altered the way some of these kids on the autistic spectrum, how it's helped them, how it's been, a medical savior for them. And I started interviewing some kids at an event last year in Philadelphia. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here that people need to understand.
Right. This
is just not a video game. So anyway, that's a great question. I think it's horseshit that it alters in a bad way. Look, I have a 14-year-old kid. I'm trying right now. He's on frickin' Fortnite. I'm like, get outside and ride your bike, for God's sake.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But is it a bad thing? You know what? I know where he is. I know who he's talking to. I know what he's doing. It's not a bad thing.
I agree.
All good.
And you know what, man? And I'll tell you a real quick story here. But this,
sure.
And it's a difference from us. You know, I'm 49, so I'm right in the same age as you. You know,
right.
You know, we grew up with music. We were the kids that grew up and were indoctrinated to it by one friend would buy an album and then everybody else would gather at their house and read the lyrics, and you know, you knew who the producer was and who mixed it and what studio. You know, we knew these names of these studios. We never even saw a picture of them, but we knew.
Right.
You know, we just knew because that's what we grew up with. This music, though, it kept the kids of this generation, a lot of the kids, into music, whether it was Guitar Hero or whatnot. You know, and I can tell you, my son is 25, and the first album he ever owned was the Thrill to the Feel record, yours, Crush 40.
Wow,
and,
that's incredible.
But the unique story to it is, you know, he kept telling me he wanted this band, Crush 40, and I didn't know what it was, you know, because I was not as engaged in the video games. But then he played me some of it, and I was like, I know that voice. You know, I was like, I know this. I've heard this. And then it turned out that it was your music. And I was like, oh, well, you know, then I tried to introduce him to like the old Hardline stuff. And of course he was like, I don't want anything to do with that. But
thanks a lot, kid.
You know, but at least he was, but you know, for me, I was just happy that he was invested in music because it sounds like you're the same way. I honestly believe that if you use music, you know, as I don't want to say a cultural thing, but as a developmental thing, you know, to run your life kind of like a lifeline against, you know, you end up getting to a better place because, you know, I can only speak for me, but when I get in a shitty mood, the first thing I do is put on something that I like, and it takes me out of that mood. And
that's it, man. And it's life altering. It really is. It's mood altering. It's emotional altering. It really works, man. It's therapeutic.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, just take like going to the gym and then working out. I mean, you're not going to listen to love songs. You're going to listen to, you know, 3 Days Grace, Shine Down. You're going to listen to stuff that pumps you up, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, and I've had countless numbers of kids come up to me and say, it was the greatest thing you ever did to take music like you would for a soundtrack to a movie and do the same thing for these games. I thought about it, and I contacted June Sonoy and said, "Hey, dude, this is a concept I think that will really work for games, and it's changed the industry a lot. I'm very proud. I'm not tooting my own horn.
Well,
I'm just proud that the kids can relate to the song and to the imagery that they see on the game. They recall scenes. Like the second a scene goes up, like if I'm doing an event and there's like this little Sonic character comes out and runs across, they know exactly what scene and what song is going to play, which is mind blowing because I have no freaking idea what song or what scene.
Right, exactly.
I just write this shit. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really rewarding to have kids come up to me and say, you know what, I was afraid to ride a train.
Okay.
I couldn't get on a train without flipping out, but I made it here because I wanted to see you, I wanted to hear you perform. And I just hug those kids and go, man, now you're free. You did it, and now you can go anywhere. So a lot of these kids use these games, again, to sort of have control because it's difficult to control this life shit. It's difficult for me to control it, you know. Let alone feel, have some, minor, I call them very minor disabilities. But it's a beautiful thing. Music is freedom. It's an outlet. It's life-changing. I've had people come up to me saying, you know, In the Hands of Time, Hardline has changed my life. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. We take everything we hear and we relate it to our lives.
Sure.
And no matter what that is, you know, if you lost a dog or you or a cat or you lizard, whatever.
Right.
And that's, to me, the most rewarding part of being an artist and creating. I never think about the money and the album sales and the gold records, and I've got all this shit all over the house. I never think about that part. I think, am I affecting someone? Am I changing? Am I helping? Am I hurting? What am I doing? You know, and real quickly, I'll just tell you, Chris, you know, when you're an artist, when you're a creator, you're a painter. Right. You're really a painter. You take the canvas, you put a bunch of paint on the canvas, and you paint it for yourself because you see what you want to paint. And then you hope that someone understands your painting and likes it and wants to hang it up. That's really it, man. It's not like a big science. No, it's really not at all.
Dude, I write books outside of doing this, and you know, I write real life books. And the first book I wrote was about a divorce that I went through, and it you know, I'm a regular guy, went through a regular divorce. It wasn't some crazy, you know, story. And I can't tell you, same exact story you're telling. I can't tell you how many people find me on Facebook and seek me out and are like, "Oh my God, I felt the same exact way." And it's a weird place to be in, but it's a great place to be in.
It is. I've got a new title for you, bro. Here it is. Your next book.
All right.
Love is grand. Divorce is 500 grand. There it is, bro.
Thankfully, I didn't have that much to give.
Okay. Sorry, man.
It's all good.
Throw that out there.
Well, dude, dude, this has been fun as it always is when we get you on the show, man. So why don't we do what we always do? Have you pick a closing track from the new record, Set the World on Fire. Maybe tell us a quick story to wrap this one up.
All right, man. Let's do the first release called Through.
Okay.
And this song, the meaning behind it is just the sum of our reunion, Dean and myself. And we sat around and talked about literally all the shit we've been through. Okay. But we both came out on the other side of greatness, I think. And just really happy to be able to have you guys listen to this one. It's called Through.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It is brand new stuff from Johnny Gioeli and Dean Castronovo right here on your Classic Metal Show.